Right now, I think. Hi, how are you? If you could hand sanitize coming in, please, that'd be great.
I feel like we might.
Okay. Let's turn on the L projector. Yeah, I'll check that. I don't know what that is in terms of that due date. There's a lot. In order to like put anything up, there's a lot of clicks and there's a lot of things.
I just wanted to make sure that it was okay.
Yeah, no, in general stuff is due like by the time school starts the next time there is school, or we have or this course or whatever. But sometimes they'll screw up. Bound to, let's see. So you were saying that today, perhaps. So if we go to course screen, get rid of this. So this, course stream, 4th hour. Back one. I have something to do at 7:35 this morning. That would be appropriate.
I'm just gonna send you all the old processors.
They changed to 6:35.
Wonder if it's a thing with a computer time. You can say the clock has a different time zone.
Yeah, sometimes
Just send me some context
schools
or
we
maybe
just
just
send
send
you
me
like California.
and like some of them.
As far as I can tell, everything has always been that way.
And so she just really says, sending you all
We'll
the
do it at
context.
7:35.
Probably gates.
Oh, well, I got it.
Extra
I'm
hour.
gonna
Might as well
build
do
my
it
last
Alaska.
skill insane.
I'm gonna come around in just 1 second. Now, is that our first bell or our
Maybe
second?
look at it, but which one's still more?
First is all we want.
They fixed the tuning, so.
Oh, so that's the bell. Yes. Okay. Hey, welcome. Come on in. Why are we just getting here? Let's welcome. How we doing? Let's see.
It was one hallway.
I know. Crazy.
Because it's really
Welcome. Thanks for coming. If you're at home on YouTube Live, I guess 6 people are there, so that thing must work. Welcome at home. Welcome here. Happy Thursday, which is kind of your Friday, which is kind of nice. Welcome. Let's do this. Let's put this over here. Put this here. Put this here. I think we're good to go. Let me take attendance real quick because that's probably something I should do. Attendance is super complicated for me. It's for, who's that?
Oh, it's letter.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know who that was. Does anybody know who that was?
I have no idea.
Okay.
She was not happy about me.
Okay. Well, we'll find out soon, shall we? Welcome. So if you guys could introduce yourself, that way I won't butcher your name. I think I know about 50% of people right now, 50%, which is pretty lousy considering this is the 4th week of school, but it's only the 2nd time I've ever seen you. Hi. Mariah Marshall? Welcome. Thanks for coming.
I'm happy.
And you're Abby. Abigail. Or either one, huh? What's your last name? Oh, duh. I'm so stupid. It's two lines long. I get confused. And you are? That's right. And you are?
Devin Walker.
Thank you so much. This is so weird that we're doing this like 4 weeks into school. And you are? Anthony. And you are?
Josh.
Sweet. Josh. More?
Yep.
Do you go by Josh?
Yep.
Okay. Bada bing. And you are? And you are? And you are? And you are? This is so much faster. And you are? Everybody who's supposed to be here is here. That's excellent. Welcome. If you're at home, welcome as well. Yay for you. Okay, here we go. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to start class the same way I start class every single day. I start class by reading a poem. So here's a poem, and it's by William Stafford, and it's called At the Unnational Monument Along the Canadian Border. And it goes just like this. There is the field where the battle did not happen, where the unknown soldier did not die. This is the field where grass joined hands, where no monument stands, and the only heroic thing is the sky. Birds fly here without any sound, unfolding their wings across the open. No people killed or were killed on this ground, hallowed by neglect and an air so tame that people celebrate by forgetting its name. You guys say?
Mm.
Nice. That makes you sound smart. Way to go. Here's how school works, my friends. Today, we have a welcome poem and all these things we have to do. Holy cow. And what we need to do right now is if you're at home right now, you need to log into Google Classroom and do the check-in. And if you're here, do it right now too anyway. I know you're here. I just put a check by your name, okay? I totally know you're here. But what it does is it cleans up my attendance. So if you're in the room, I'm going to show you what I see. This is what I see for your class, okay? When I go in there, you guys see these things, right? Don't you see these things that look like this? You guys see stuff like this? But then I have this thing called grades. And here's what I see. I see all of this, okay? And I see all of these assignments, holy cow. And then I see all of these people, holy cow. And what I don't, and see how nice it is when there's just a check there and not a red missing? So what happens is when you guys are here for attendance, I just get stuff like turned in, and it just makes me say, yay. So I know you're here, but if it says you're turned in, then it's super easy because I know you're here, but it comes as this ugly red flag missing, and I don't want to see the ugly red flag missings. So I know it's stupid, sort of, but a lot of things are stupid, sort of. And so just do that for me, humor me. Yeah. And at the end of class, I'm going to say check out, even though I know you're here, okay? But if you're at home, it's essential. If you're at home and you check in and you check out, and I have like evidence that you were here, you're here, yay. If you don't check in, you're absent. If you don't check out, you're absent. And then, you know, that there are some repercussions for that. We good? Does anybody have any questions about that? I know it's kind of a pain. I don't know how your other teachers are doing this when you're at home or whatever. This is just the way it works in my room, okay? What was the question today?
Eat a bowl.
Would you eat? Was that the question just now?
Yeah.
Now, I thought a lot about that question. Let me tell you why I thought a lot about that question. I specifically included the adjective live in front of the word crickets, okay? But somebody in my other class was like, no, I've eaten crickets many a times, and they're cook them up and saute them, put a little salt. I'm like, no, live crickets. And I also used the adjective cereal describing the bowl to try to give a sense of scope. Then I spent a really long time considering the amount of money. Because had I put down $1 million, all y'all would have said,
Yeah.
And if I would have said, 40 cents, y'all would have said, no. So what's the ideal number? And how do you know what the ideal number is? The ideal number is the number where half of you say yes and half of you say no. So let's see how we did it.
Okay, so what is the condition that we have to eat them? Do they still have to be alive while they're in our mouths, or can we squash them 5 minutes?
Oh, you're getting into some
Semantics?
I don't know. I haven't fully thought out the experiment.
I mean, if it's a bowl of cereal.
So apparently 10 to 17 is our ratio in this class. So apparently I did make the money a little too low.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had made the money $600, does that change any of you? If I had made it $1,000, would that change any of you?
$1 million? Oh, wait, a grand? Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently my number's a little low. In my class yesterday, it was a perfect split. I said, I picked the right number, But apparently for this class, you guys all have standards, so nice job. Here we go. Today what we're gonna do, oh my God, look at all these things we have to do, but a lot of them are so fast, okay? And I don't know what your experience is like, and you tell me. You email me, I respond to your email right away. Jane, your nose. Your nose, my God. Okay, I try to put up a slideshow every day so that you're in here. I try to early in the slideshow say, here's what we're doing. Then I have slides that we are doing. And then at the end, I try to put a slideshow that says, here's what you need to do for next time. So I'm trying to be clear, but I totally understand that sometimes things get confusing. Yesterday, the YouTube live, hey, everybody at home, like and subscribe. I got 53 subscribers. I only need 947 more, okay? I'm almost there. I try to, but it's your experience and your education. I get paid regardless, okay? So if you need help, you tell me. If something doesn't work, you tell me. Like yesterday, like I said, YouTube Live cut out. I don't know if you saw that when you were at home. Like then I had to reboot and whatever. Here's the deal. If you're at home, I will never not be teaching, okay? So I'll be trying to put up links or things for you to do. So just kind of be patient. I think patience is something we all need. Just Cog said, good. And the beautiful thing is I don't know who anybody is.
That's Bryce.
That is okay, because I was hoping maybe it was like people from all around the world. Maybe I was trying to extend my reach. School pictures are given back. The last time you'll ever get school pictures in high school is today. In-person entrance slip. If you filled out the little entrance slip like I asked you to, you're just going to hand it to me. And the reason I'm having you do that is I just wanted to get a little sense of where you're at in this process, and it's a nice insight for me. Then I'm going to tell you the 4 criteria, which are right here. Boom, 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 boom. Then we're going to do some discussion of the personal statement essays you could have read for today, which is like Drowning by Swaying and The Daily Show and Superpower, and I forget the fourth name. Talk a little bit about livening up your writing. We're doing one activity together where we're going to talk about making your writing perhaps a little more lively than it perhaps things to think about to liven up writing. Going to remind you of the personal essay prompts, and then boom, time for you to write. 1 week from yesterday. So that's 6 days. No. Today, 1 week from today, because next week is a weird week where you have your weird day in the middle of the week because we have the SAT. So 1 week from today is the next time this course meets. You'll be at home. You guys will be here. That's when your personal statement essay is due. And so you have 1 week to compose this thing. Yeah.
So about the personal statement.
Yes.
Essay, like, I'm just confused on what personal statement essay means.
Well, let me get through this because here's the prompt. And then I'll hopefully get there. But bottom line is it's
Like, are you trying to just like state your opinion on something?
no, it's a story. It's a narrative. It's a story about yourself. But you'll see the prompts will lead you in that direction. So okay, basically it's something personal about yourself that you're declaring, and that could be declaring a time that you experienced something that changed your worldview. It could be a time that you've overcame a challenge. It could be something about you that is unique. But hopefully by the time we get to the end of this, you'll be clear on that. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. So here's what we're doing. You've checked in at home. Yeah, here we go. School pictures. Okay, so here's our school pictures. You guys have, if you're at home, yep, here we go.
You look
But it's
good back
two.
then.
Because I literally like woke up.
This is another opportunity for me to see if I know
Yeah,
your names. You should trade these with your friends, or perhaps maybe a way for you to get a friend. Maybe you could leave this under the windshield of that certain special someone. What? Don't know who that person is. I don't think that's your You're there, right?
Yeah.
No, it's good.
No, it's not.
This person's not here. If you're an in-home learner, we have all your pictures here. Oh dear.
Yo, they're nice shorts though.
What are those rubber duckies?
No, those are bananas.
Oh, and that means
Oh, look at this.
So that's all I can.
Anthony.
Dude, I walked in my truck because I didn't know how to wear it.
I was literally
And she like, the girl looked at me and said, "You have to take it off." And I'm like, "I'm not taking off this hat because I did not know we were taking pictures."
I just
But she was like, "You have to do it." And I was like, "No."
Because I feel a lot more
Aren't those great, huh? Those are going in the yearbook, okay? Here we go. In-person entrance slips. Let me have those real quick. Where are we at? Bottom line is right now, do you have any sense of what you might write about? Do you have any sense of how you might build your essay? Are you going to make it a list? Are you going to send us on a choose your own adventure? Do you have a little piece of paper? Entrance slip, entrance, yeah, is this it? Yeah. Are you going to, I am fully convinced, and I'll tell you about it next week. I am fully convinced that I was like you. I went to Columbine High School. All I wanted to do was leave this place when I was here. I did go to college. I only applied to 2 colleges. And yes.
What do we write on these?
What do you mean? This was from last class.
What, how, and why?
You can go to last week. You can go online and on the page is the assignment. Okay. Thanks. I am fully convinced that when I transferred colleges after 2 years because I thought I was going to drop out, I decided to transfer. I am fully convinced they let me into my second school, which was probably a better school than I should have been allowed to go to. But I'm fairly convinced they let me in because of what I wrote in my college application essay, because my grades were fine and my transcripts were fine, but they weren't exceptional. And why would they let some junior into this school? And it's the most selective school in the United States. It has the lowest acceptance rate of any school. Why would they let me in? And I'm pretty convinced it's because of not what I said in my college application essay, but how I wrote it. And I'll tell you a little bit about it next week if you're interested. interested. But so I'm very interested in not just what you say, but how you choose to put you on a page. Okay, so that's where we're at. I'm going to take a look at those, and I'm also balance those with what people said last time. All right, so here we go. Last time you guys read the exit slips from last time. Here we go. Your personal statement will be evaluated in 4 criteria. Number 1, vulnerability. You have to show a willingness to tell a personal story. Now, vulnerability does not mean, I think a lot of people think if you're vulnerable, you're weak. Okay? That's not what it means. Vulnerability doesn't say, oh, here's something I hate about myself. Vulnerability is just you're willing to make yourself known on the page. And that's hard to do. We try to, in some ways, we beat that out of you in English classes because we don't want you writing about yourself most of the time. You're supposed to be writing about this short story or this poem. The second thing your personal essay needs to show is some form of a value or values that you possess. We did that values exercise, and it kind of shows your is a insight into your character or your essence, who you are, which leads a little bit to number 3, which is the things you possess that you can do or you have done or you've learned that make you special. Okay, and so this superpower idea that I have something in me because of what I believe, because of what I've been through or wish to go through, and ultimately it makes me me, and it makes me different than everybody else on the planet. If somebody else could turn in your personal statement, it doesn't work because it has to be yours. And then the last thing is this is what we're going to focus on today, is your craft as a writer. You also have to reveal that you know how to write, but we have 7 days for you to craft this thing, and then we're going to have a small period of revision to make it better than it was, okay? And so we're going to talk about how do you use language to communicate this message, all right? So the essays that you guys looked at for today, Drowned by Swaying, Farming a Future, Superpowers, and The Daily Show, those were all 4 essays that told a personal story that had values present, that that offered traits that made the person special and also revealed the person can write. Anthony, yes, sir.
For those 4 essays, I was a little confused on what we were supposed to highlight. Like, where were we supposed to, like, looking for the annotation? Because I started annotating stuff, but I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be annotating something.
He gave a thing at the beginning.
I got it, okay? Well, you're good. You can help. I totally am good at this, okay? I'm the one getting paid. I can leave. You can do this. So let's see. Here's our class. Here's our lead. Here's our class. Boom. So I try really hard, and you let me know. So it says right here on the assignment, the entire first page kind of walks you through here. It says, once you've read 3 essays, select 2. And then it says, if you're uncertain about annotations, now's the time to ask, which was yesterday when we got the assignment. Here are things to annotate for. Organization and structure. How do they build the narrative? Where do you see features? Is there a way they've organized it pretty elementary, or is it sophisticated? Where does organization help the message? Are there paragraphs shorter in the essays? So I would like you to annotate on how the thing was built. I'd like you also to annotate on metaphor. Is there a central metaphor in each writer? Because each one has one. How do they develop it? So some people actually color-coded. I mentioned this on the lecture yesterday. Some people said, okay, I'm going to do comments about how they organized it in yellow, and comments how they built a metaphor in orange. And I'm going to talk about like the style and the voice. Like I'm going to point out in blue that the person has shifted from first to third person at this moment, or this person used dialogue at this point, and I'm going to do that in blue or whatever. And then tone is, this also risk. Where did you see them taking risk or anything like that? Does that help a little bit, Anthony?
Yes.
The first page of the assignment was the directions, okay? We good? All right. What can I learn from the models? The reason we use models is because somebody's done this before. All 4 of those models are Columbine High School students writing this assignment. Those are all 4 people that succeeded in this. So bottom line, the ones you did the other day, those were like people in college or people that had written them in their professional lives. These are all 4 Columbine students just sitting in a room just like this with worse carpet because we got renovated. And they're saying, here's an experience I had, and a quality I possess, a revelation I had that has made me kind of believe what I do and be who I am. And then they wrote them in a certain way. Any other comments about doing that? So together, I've given you a total of 9 different essays. The first one, Temper, about the skateboard park, and then the 4 and the 4. And I have tons more if you'd like to see them. But sometimes it can be overwhelming. Next week, after you have yours completed, we're going to look at another one or two just to think about the ways you could tweak yours if necessary. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Oh, this thing doesn't work once I click another tab. Boom. We're going to read a story together today called Woofy Down the Well. Sounds awesome, okay? Woofy Down the Well. And as we do, we're going to do more than consider we will consider not just the tale, but how it's told. We're going to be looking at craft. This is not a personal statement. This is just a personal story. Telling a story requires lively writing. The word should feel as if they're not barely confined to the page. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at this story, Woofy Down the Well, and we're going to try to notice how the writer has made meaning, the choices the writer has made, the way the writer has written. So are we clear on these things real quick? You guys could define personification as something, right? Personification is giving human-like qualities to things that are not human. What is repetition? When anything, a word, a phrase, a structure, an image, a sound repeats. Okay? What are you doing on your phone? Are you texting? Have I given you the speech about time? How many minutes are in a week? Ayana, right? How many minutes in a week? How many minutes in an hour? 60 times how many hours in a day? 24 hours in a day, remember? And then how many days in a week? So 60 times 24 times 7 is 10,880. Of which you're in this room for 75. So you can have, I grant you, 10,805 minutes a week when I won't hassle you for texting on your phone. Make sense? Are we cool? We're still friends, right? Huh?
Sure.
Sure. All right. Repetition is anything which recurs more than twice. Okay. So, for example, if you're texting once, it's once. If you text more than once, it becomes a repetition. It becomes a pattern. And the human beings are attracted to patterns. First time you get a speeding ticket, what did you say to your parents? What did you say to your parents? Right? Freak occurrence. Right? Second time you got a speeding ticket, what did you say to your parents? What a coinky dink. Okay. Third time you got a speeding ticket, we start to see that this is who you are and how you drive, okay? So we look for patterns. Human beings love patterns. I got like a 12-page email about how the number 666 in the Bible is about a pattern in the Bible. This person really spent a lot of time writing me this. And I was like, wow, you've really seen a pattern. Human beings love patterns. Hi. I don't know. Just came in my email. It was fascinating. I spent all day reading. It was amazing.
I know someone who might have done that.
No, it wasn't. Well, I don't know. This person really, I don't know. You have a lot of spare time. Imagery. Imagery must activate one of your 5 senses. The story we're going to read, they talk about a 6th sense. Ooh, but you only have 5. You can see, smell, touch, taste, and hear things. And something which activates one of those things will ultimately create either a mental picture or a mental connection. Imagery works. We're going to look for that. Alliteration is repetition of the initial sound of a word, like bouncing baby boy. Dialogue is what? Anything that's in quotation marks. Now, in a story, often you have the inner voice, but sometimes that's paired with the outer voice. Sometimes people hear things in stories. Look for quotes. Using like all capital letters or like, remember that essay from yesterday, if you did your homework, it was that Drowned by Swaying. We had like the italics I as the second word. You know, today I am being prepped for surgery. And then later in the essay, they like did funky stuff with tab and font choices, you know, like that sort of stuff. You can emphasize in your work with caps and bold. Now, if you do it a bunch, it looks just cheesy. But once in a while, I teach this book, Cold Mountain. Sometimes it's 454 pages long. And there's one word in that book, which is in a different font. And I'm like, why did that author drop one word in those 100,000 words in a different font? Well, it jumps out. Anybody know what an allusion is? An illusion is magic. Ooh, what's an allusion? Yeah, Neil.
It is
Boom.
a reference to another piece inside your piece.
Right. So then that piece could be other literature, it could be history, it could be the religion, you know. So if you say, oh, well, this person had his cross to bear, we're like, oh, that's religion. That's maybe an allusion to, you know, the Bible or something like that. A simile is a smile with an extra eye. That's comparing two things with like or as. Okay, it's true. A metaphor is when we just compare things. Those are always lies. Okay. Varied sentence lengths, short sentences, long sentences, things like that. Word choice, you know, word choice is. Okay. A single word that just is amazing because maybe it has a couple of meanings or it's just the perfect word. Let's go right now. Words for meaning. I'm mad. Ready? Go. Mad. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm cross. I'm inconvenienced. Somebody's mad at you. What do they scream? No, don't. Stop, okay? I'm upset. Okay? Word choice is interesting because sometimes words mean the opposite of what they're supposed to mean, yet we take them for the other meaning. Selection of detail, those are just when we're being rich with like small adjectives, pronouns, not pronouns, adjectives, nouns, things that are extremely precise as opposed to, ooh, that thing over there. Rhythm is anything that creates a beat. Would you turn around, Anthony, please? My God. Rhythm is anything that creates a beat of any kind of sense. Language has rhythm, okay? Ultimately, the sounds we make are rhythmic because our mouth, either impedes the flow of air as we speak. And so sometimes that creates a sound that it creates a pattern for us. A lot of times if you read something out loud, it's just completely different than if you read it with your eyes because we miss the rhythm. Anyway, symbolism when something means something else other, whatever, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to read the story Woofy Down the Well. And I'm going to leave this up. Actually, we're going to read it and we're going to go on a scavenger hunt, okay? And you're going to read it at the same time. So if you guys could please go to today's lesson and find Woofy Down the Well. It looks just like this, okay? You can look at it on your phone. You can look at it on the computer, but go to today's lesson, okay? If you ever have an issue with a computer, bringing one to class, let me know, other than that I forgot it or I didn't charge mine. That's on you, okay? But if your computer doesn't work, maybe we can get it fixed here at Columbine if it was a Columbine computer, although both of the librarians are currently on quarantine, so it's a little tough, okay? You guys hear about Cherry Creek?
Yeah.
I think they're up to 1,700 on quarantine right now. Holy cow. Like, that's our whole school plus,
Oh, they put in the actual virus in the kids' mouths at that point?
I don't know. All right, here we go. So we have a story called Woofy Down the Well. And then what we're going to do is while we read the story, you're going to look for personification or repetition or imagery or alliteration or dialogue or anything like that. Make sense? I don't think I made a copy for you as an assignment, so I don't think you can do anything. Can you do anything with this thing when you open it up? Is it kind of locked? All right, here we go. What is the goal of this assignment? The goal of this assignment is to look at not what this story is about. I don't care about why this story was written. The only thing we're going to look at is how this writer wrote. Okay? If you're a musician, you have choices in how you produce the music. If you're an artist, you have choices in how you paint your painting. If you're a cook, you have choices in how you combine ingredients and do things. The author had choices here. So here we go. We're looking for all of these things. And I'm going to leave this up here on the blow machine. And you can remind yourself of these things: personification, repetition, imagery, alliteration, dialogue, capital letters for emphasis, allusion, simile, metaphor, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. Ready? Woofy Down the Well. Ready? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Okay, here we go. Woofy Down the Well. Last Saturday, our home nearly suffered the loss of a dear family member. His name is Woofy, and he is our youngest son's favorite stuffed dog. Woofy is a chocolate lab with a faux leather nose that is losing fluff from a previous wound, and matted fur that proves he is dutiful, diligently, and deeply loved. Woofy travels with us. Woofy has been to school. Woofy visits Grandma's house. Woofy is well-liked and popular among all the other stuffed animals. Woofy is a model pet. In short, Woofy is indispensable. It was early evening and the boys were upstairs playing. Hubby and I were downstairs starting dinner and enjoying the fact that the kids were laughing and not bickering for once. Suddenly the laughter was rudely interrupted by a disconsolate wail. Immediately I froze. My mother's sixth sense instinctively trying to determine if it was a cry of physical pain, anger, indignation, or another of the myriad cries our children have perfected. I didn't have to wonder for long as our youngest appeared at the top of the stairs, mouthing completely unintelligible words, tears already streaming down his face. I realized then that it was the worst of all possible cries, the cry of heartbreak. It didn't even matter what had happened. My son was so tortured in that moment that my heart was right there with his. I felt sick to my stomach. Slow down and tell me what happened, sweetie. He barely managed a broken and pathetic woo-oo-oo-oo-oofy. Then the impossible words formed on his lips. Woofy is gone. I don't know exactly what took over my brain at that point, but I'm fairly sure that if temporary insanity exists, I had it. Apparently, a deep-seated post-traumatic stress disorder memory from a stuffed animal mishap during my childhood took hold of me. I raced up the stairs on a mission with my sobbing little boy trailing behind. "Where'd he go?" I screamed. My children just stared at me, clearly unsure what to make of their wild-eyed mother. They pointed to the corner of the room and an air conditioning vent that was missing its cover. I ran to the corner, flew onto my son's bed as if channeling Superman, and peered down into the dark vent hole. I could see nothing. Hubby soon arrived to see just my legs and feet as the rest of me tumbled off the bed so I could reach down the vent to determine if Woofy went straight down or by some dumb luck hit a curve in the vent and stayed close enough to grab. Bad news. Woofy really was gone. I started shouting commands like an officer at a Marine boot camp. "Give me the flashlight. I need a flashlight and a tape measure now." The 3 men in my life stumbled around dumbfounded, trying to locate flashlights that were long since appropriated for more fun endeavors like making scary faces while pretend camping in the basement. When they finally located a cheap plastic children's flashlight and fresh batteries, I aimed the flashlight down the black hole, and sure enough, Woofy was down there, way down there. 12 deep, long, bleak feet down there, to be exact. The pain of my son's face as he registered his loss was excruciating. Woofy was our baby Jessica in the well. We had to rescue him, no matter what it took. With hubby's growing stomach growling, we reconvened in the kitchen to discuss our game plan. Hubby didn't seem very concerned given the gravity of the situation. Of course, Attila the Hun might have appeared a bit of a milquetoast when compared to my frenzied hysterics. "I'll open the vent from the crawl space after dinner," he said, far too calmly for my liking. "It may not seem this way to you," I said in my most restrained, protective mama bear voice, "but this is an emergency." I stopped downstairs to the crawl space, fully intended to take care of the situation myself until I got there, and stared into the recesses of that cavernous space, the space that is filled with spiders, large wolf spiders, known only in our house as the creatures that must not be named. Realizing that I was not going to let this go until Woofy had been rescued, hubby caved with flathead screwdriver in hand. He braved the depths of the crawl space and went to work taking the vent apart. The boys and I stayed near the crawl space, ready to help in any possible way, as long as actually entering the crawl space did not come into play. In a few short minutes, I watched my husband become a hero as he pulled Woofy from the vent and gently handed him to his tearful owner. In that moment, it went from threat level red to threat level green in our house. We all took turns hugging Woofy and talking about how happy we were. Disaster averted, crisis resolved, the nightmare was over. Or so I thought. 3 nights later, at dinner, we were talking about the whole ordeal again when our little guy spoke up. "Can we please stop talking about Woofy?" he said, nearly in tears. I knew that this experience would change my son, the way I was changed 30 years earlier when my beloved orange beanbag dog, Drooper, suffered a life-threatening loss of beans during a household tussle. Someday I imagine that my son will have his own post-traumatic stress moment when his child's stuffed toy is in peril. I know he will react as I did. He will relive the entire emotional experience of fearing that the thing you love most has been lost forever and temporarily misplace his sanity. And hopefully in that moment, his memory will erase the near loss of Woofy and in his place put a new memory, the memory of a wild-eyed father who would not rest again until all was set right. And you say, So now what we do is we look at this thing and we say something. And this is the mandatory voluntary participation. This is like the draft, okay? I'm gonna put a little dot by your name when you say something. And we're gonna color this thing all up. I don't know if it colors it up on your screen. Like if I did this right here on your little screen, if I did this, baby Jessica down the well, and I said, what was this editing mode? Have you ever done that? Oh no, that's not right. So if I did this little thing and I said, ooh, let's highlight that in orange. Does that happen on your little screen? Does it eventually show up?
Yeah.
It does? It like clicks on there? Are we live in the future? Sweet. Okay, so what I would do is I'd say, I noticed, and then you say something you noticed. And what did you notice? I don't know. What are these things? Repetition or personification or all capital letters or selection of detail or rhythm or symbolism or anything like that, okay? And then you say, I noticed that. And so kind of say where it is and what it was. So maybe Jessica, well, that's an allusion, okay? In the 1980s, Jessica fell down a well. Jessica was a child. She fell down a well in like Ohio or Iowa or one of those states that have lots of vowels, okay? And she was in this well, and they knew they were down here because they could hear her voice, and then they didn't know how to get her out. And so this little child was down the well for many months, and the news cameras all convened on this little town, and everybody in the whole country was worried if baby Jessica was ever going to make it out of the well. And she totally did. Okay, it's okay. All right, yay. So this is called an allusion. There are more allusions. Okay, volunteer or else I'll call on you. Go. What do you got there, Isaiah?
In the very first paragraph, it talks about Wolfie having a wound, which is personification.
Okay, where's that wound thing?
It says.
Oh, wound, previous wound. Okay,
Yes, previous
nice. And I don't know if I'd call that personification, but it's called animism or animation. We've made something that's not alive. Stuffed animals don't get wounds, but we created life on this thing. Good. So nice. The personification does the same kind of thing. Jane?
Wolfie, rhythm,
Where's the rhythm?
third paragraph.
Oh, this. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's just hard to say, isn't it? Okay, woofy, just use of all caps there, just really lengthening this out, creating the rhythm, of course, with the nice dancing there. Josh?
Dutiful, or how do you say that?
Dutiful, diligently,
And deeply.
and that is, what do we call that?
Alliteration.
That's alliteration, so kind of repeating things. And you can do that anywhere, we create a beat with that sort of thing, you know? Keep in mind, it's not the letter, like physical pain right here, that's not alliteration. Because even though both of those words start with the same letter, physical is a sound and pain is a sound. I have a little podcast, maybe I'll play you sometime when you're really bored, about the 7 ways to say the letter T. Okay? T. If I say topple, everybody say topple in your mouth. Right? Topple. You have to say it. Topple. Tell me how you make the sound T. Topple. How exactly do you make the sound T?
Put your tongue at the top of your mouth.
And where in the top of your mouth? Right behind the teeth. Topple. Right behind the teeth, right? Topple. Okay? And now I'm going to drive a car down the road that has a big pickup area in the back, and I'm going to call it a truck. Say the word truck.
Truck.
Truck. Now think about how you say that T. Truck. Think about your tongue. Truck. Now go to a sanctuary on Sunday. I'll be right there, Anthony, and say the word church. Church. And see how similar that is to how you said truck? Church, like the way your tongue works, you know? And it's all about how sound is, well, whatever. Hi, yeah.
I think the way that the T is said really depends on the vowel that's after it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And that's like a trick, like when people are studying poetry, they're like, oh, all these words start with T. It's like, it doesn't matter because poetry is about our ears. And so it's always a combination of things. What a great thing. What else you got? Another volunteer there, Neil. Thanks.
There's repetition where more closer to the end of the first paragraph, it's Whoopi travels with us. Whoopi's been to school. Whoopi, yeah, that one.
And if you did this like in a normal, oh dear Lord in heaven, if you did this in a normal essay, I would probably say, would you please vary your wording? That is so repetitive, but maybe you're trying to punctuate something very important. Bottom line is that by the end of this first paragraph, we certainly know the prominence of woofy, whatever the heck that is. Ayana, did you have something?
Yeah, on metaphor, when it says I started shouting commands at the officer.
Very nice. This would be, it's actually a simile because that is the word like, but actually all similes are metaphors. It's just simile is a subset of metaphor. And so we have this, we could also call it an allusion, you know, because we're alluding to something you'd have to know about in the world, you know, so that works like a charm. Nice. What else? I got something.
Would it be imagery where some use a chocolate lab with the soft lemon nose?
Yep. Nice. Or we could call that selection of detail. But instead of saying it's a stuffed animal, what do? We just give it some details or something like that to make it vibrant and come off the page, okay? So if you're going to write to me about, like, you know, your, I don't know, how important your drum set is to you, don't say I have a drum set. Describe it. What is it? What are some of the small details? How does it evoke something, you know? So just the idea of soft faux leather nose, that's getting my fingertips involved. Thank you so much. You were Cody, right?
Yeah.
Still? All day? You're Cody still? All day? Okay. Devin?
Dialogue. Would
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
slow down and tell me what happened?
Yeah, so we got that dialogue there, this, and where was the slow down and tell me what happened, wherever that is.
Oh, no.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right there. Slow down, tell me what happened, Woofy is gone. You know, there's tons of dialogue in here. Keep in mind, your story is probably going to be your mouth talking because you're going to say, I did this, I did that. But then sometimes you're going to be speaking in your own story, you know, which is odd. Neil?
There's an allusion to Attila the Hun
There's an allusion to Attila the Hun.
in Superman as well.
Yeah, so here's our allusion. So and you may not know Attila is Hun, but maybe he's well enough known that if we talk about Attila the Hun, this famous warrior, being a bit of a milk toast. That would be a word choice thing. If you had to look it up, it's probably word choice. Milk toast is just someone who is just so blah, passive. I don't know if you know people that are just beige or vanilla. You know, those people are milk toasts. Where was the Superman one? Channeling Superman, or perhaps is Superman a big deal? I don't think so. I think it's time to pass. What else? Hi, and you wait. Your name is No, I had it. I swear to God. Okay, welcome.
Sorry. Wait, can I say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
Whenever she says my son was so tortured, it's a good word choice.
Yeah, my son. Where was it? Where was that? Was that related to Superman? Close above it or below?
It's the second one.
Second what?
Second paragraph.
Oh, this big one here.
Yeah. it's
Yeah.
the bottom.
Don't make a style torture.
The last sentence.
There it is. Yeah. And that's such a lie, you know? Your son was not tortured, you know? Torture involves like waterboarding or like bamboo shoots under the fingernails, right? This is very different. But we're getting a sense of that. That's a good word choice instead of my son was upset. Okay, nicely done. What else we got? Huh? Gene, go again.
Paragraph, personification, first sentence.
Which paragraph?
First sentence.
Oh, dear family member?
Yeah.
Yep, that's personification. Stuffed animals are not family members. My one daughter, I have two human daughters that live in my house. She was obsessed by this little pig. His name was Dee Dee. It was given to her as a baby when she was a baby. And she carried it everywhere until she lost it. And then she freaked out. So I went online to buy another one. But it was a Beanie Baby back when Beanie Babies were sort of a thing. And I had to order it from a store in New York City that specialized in custom in collector items. So the first one I bought cost me like $47, and then she lost it again. So I had to buy it again from the same store. Okay, and it cost me like $51. And so the third time she lost it, I bought like 3 of them, and I still have 2 of them because she doesn't keep it anymore. But ultimately, I always had them on deck, ready to be there. Did you guys have something like that? Right? Does it still exist? Don't admit it.
Yeah.
Don't admit it.
Gone.
It's okay to carry things. I still remember. Well, never mind. Who cares about me? Next. What else? Anything else jump out at this thing?
The hat is full. We have, it's down.
Yeah, that's the only one in the whole thing,
No,
right?
it's down.
We had. Yeah, absolutely. The sense of necessity, urgency, duty with had. Yeah, one little choice. You do that all over the place, it becomes like, I don't know, a little much. But one, sure, why not? Anything else? Hey, Neil.
There's another allusion to threat level red and threat level green.
Yes.
Military.
Military speak. That's a particular kind of style of. We know, if you know about the military, you know that matters. There's even this up here about mama bear voice, right? And that kind of alludes to like fairy tales and stuff like that, maybe, or nature, maybe. What else? Oh, something else. Anywhere else? Yeah. Yes. Hold on. Yes, Abby.
I don't have one in mind.
What? Okay, Nevea.
I have to go again.
What? Oh, you already went?
Yeah, she did. She said the how.
Oh yeah, the had. Duh.
I'll go again. I lied.
All right. What about sentence structure? Find somewhere where this person is manipulating the length of sentences. I like this one right here. Bad news. Okay. So we have that. Essentially, what's this story about? It's about bad news. What's the bad news? The animal. Would you think about your own writing? You know, challenge yourself to put a 2-word sentence somewhere in your personal statement. Challenge yourself to put a 42-word sentence somewhere in your personal statement. Try to vary the lengths of your sentences because it makes writing come off the page. Did you guys notice how that was mirrored down here again? Disaster averted, crisis resolved. That kind of mirroring of single, that kind of creating that 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, beep, beep, beep. What else? Anything else in this whole darn story? Yeah, Neil.
I mean, there's technically hyperbole in the paragraph after get me a flashlight and take an entry now.
Yeah.
It's the 3 men in my life stumbled around dumbfounded.
Yeah. Exactly. Very nice. Yeah, that's an exaggeration, poetic exaggeration called hyperbole. Okay. And like, look at this repetition here. Wolfie was down there,
Way down there.
down there once, down there twice, down there thrice, okay? And we're creating that rhythm and repetition. It's just like singing songs. But the first one is down there. Second one is way down there. Third one is 12 deep, long, bleak feet. Down there, okay? So whatever, to be exact. Thank you so much for helping me with that, okay? I think one more thing I wanted to point out was, where was it? It was something, anything else you see? I see one more thing I like. Oh, there's lots of them. Where's the thing I wanted to point out? It was down here somewhere. Oh, didn't nobody caught out this allusion? Where we're going downstairs into the basement? No. Into a cavernous space. That's a lie. It's called a basement, but what have we turned it into, metaphorically? A cave. And what have we filled that cave with? Not just spiders, but large wolf spiders. So we have that repetition, that, as you say, hyperbole perhaps. And then what about this? The creatures that must not be named. Nerds! That's an allusion to Harry Potter, right? Yeah, very nice, okay? I will say one thing. This last paragraph matters a ton. And you need to have that, because I said craft. Clearly, what's this character's superpower? If the main person, if this was a personal, the superpower of this person is dedication, love for a kid, perseverance, the ability to yell a lot, right? Those are all superpowers, right? The value, the vulnerability, of course, it's a very personal story. The craft, we can talk about that. This person can write. But what about values? And I think the values come in this paragraph here. Because what values is, what is this story really about? And this is amazing. What if you just walk up to somebody in the hall today and you say to him, hey, the thing that you love most will be lost forever. And they look at you and you're like, really? Yeah. The thing you love most will be lost forever, unless you're the one that's being lost. Your parents, your spouse, your child, whatever. You're either the one being lost or the loser at that point. This is a powerful idea. And then we get to the value of the idea, the power of new memories about her child has now been catapulted. Memory, because this whole story is a memory, this form. This story is a memory of what she hopes her child will be like in the future. So it's a foresight prediction about what that resonates with something that happened in the past. That I hope my son will be create his own memory about setting things right. And that's a value. The idea, if you value that I'm going to make sure things are set right, that's a value. We know something about this. Okay? Purpose of the exercise was what? To talk about craft. Just when you write, and that's why I'm actually giving you 6 days to write this. And then we're going to come back and we're going to try to make it better. Okay? Because a lot of times what you turn in as your first draft is your only draft. Some of you will choose to use this to try to get into college, try to get a scholarship, something like that. So we probably want to spend a little time crafting it. Comments, questions? You guys at home, thanks so much. Like and subscribe. Okay. So here we go.
You forgot to say ring the bell.
Is there a bell?
Yeah, you gotta ring the bell.
Ring the notification bell. And have you slept on a Casper mattress? They're amazing. I sleep on a Casper mattress myself. And if you go right now to caspermattress.com/Friesen English, you can get 10% off on a new order of a Casper mattress. It comes in a little box. And you're guaranteed that it'll be the best night's sleep you've ever had. If not, return it in 30 days, free shipping, get all your money back. Okay? Here we go. Have you guys ever got one of those mattresses in a box?
No.
We bought one of those they come in a box, and you put it out, and you cut the saran wrap, and it goes. A mattress in a box. It's an amazing thing. You figure one out, Abby? Just say yeah. All right, there we go. Got it? Yep, nice. That's for you. Yes.
I got the ground one.
Okay, so this is, and you humans at home got this yesterday, and if you don't have it, everything I ever hand you is always on Google Classroom. Thanks, Mr. Friesen. Thanks for making our Google Classroom so thorough. These are your choices. So there is a 650 max word limit, and it's 450. So this is the range. You need to write between 450 and 650 words. If you're submitting this to college, they just want a max of 650. So you could write like 4 words if you want, But for my assignment, you need 450 to 650. And you need to ultimately take a look at these prompts, and you're going to pick one of them, Okay? So read through them all and pick one. So that's part of what you're doing today, is saying, you know what, I'm going to do this one. And bottom line is, I hope the work we've done until now has given you an idea. We did the values exercise. We did the that thing you did yesterday at home if you did it, which is the feelings, feeling, effect, need, I don't know, whatever it was. There's the 6-step thing. We did the object box, the essence object box. We've done several things. You don't know what to write about? Write about one of your essence objects. Because I bet your essence object is something that reveals something about your identity or your interests or your talents. Or maybe your essence object in your box could be tied to something you find so engaging you lose track of time. Or maybe in the thing we did yesterday about dealing with a challenge, maybe that would be a good one to apply to number 2 or number 3. Or do whatever you want, because there's 6 prompts here. But number 7 is write any essay you want. The only essay you can't write is the essay that you already wrote, submitted last year for school. Okay, you need to produce an essay for this class, and you've got 6 days to do it. And is it going to be the greatest thing you've ever written? Probably not. Okay, are you going to tweak it next week? Yes. Sure. But like I said, I hope that you find the process to be interesting. But I also hope that if you are choosing to apply to college, that you're actually finding it applicable, and it's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Right now, all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you guys time to write. For now, don't worry about how it's formatted. Some people are like, does it have to be an MLA format? Does it? Just write. Okay. It's the hardest thing to do. Just go. Okay. I ran a 5K this morning. Anybody run a 5K this morning? You know how to run a 5K, 3 miles? You know how to run 3 miles? It's really easy. You run the first mile, then you run the second mile. Saturday, guess what I run? I have a 16-mile run on Saturday. That's my thing. I have to run 16 miles. And I'm 50 years old. And how do you do that? You run the first one, then you run the second one. So how do you write 650 words? You write 1 word, then you write another word, and you keep adding until you get there. Okay? Make sense? Okay. So your time is yours right now. If you need help, call me. Let me know. In 6 days, you need to have a complete first draft of this thing. Okay? In 6 days. So here's your homework. Continue to work on your personal statement. On Friday, which is tomorrow, you're going to have a remote lesson. It will be posted at 7:30 and due at 11:30. Maybe it's due at noon. I don't know. It's super easy. All it is, it's going to be a video of me talking over the rubric that's going to be used to score this. So I'm going to show you the rubric, and I'm going to say, here's how I'm going to score your essay. And then that'll hopefully clarify a little bit about what it needs to have. And then you have to check in, or else you're absent. And then a rough draft of 450 to 650 words is due the next time we meet, which is 1 week from today, even though you're at home. And then let me know if you need help. I actually get paid real American dollars to help students. I could have done anything with my life. I could have been a chef. I should have been an architect. But I chose to spend my time with teenagers and books. Kind of a strange choice.
It's better than that.
It's better than what? An architect?
Better than that.
No. I would have been an exceptional architect. And then you have to check out at the end of the period, even if you're in the room. And before you ask the question, I can't check out because it's not turned on. It doesn't turn on until the end of class, okay? But at the end of class, you check out. Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
You could probably still be an architect if you wanted to.
I could. When I quit teaching next month, I will move on to my second career.
Can you fix whatever they're going to do to people in Notre Dame? Because it is going to be terrible.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
They're going to throw some modern, like the shard type thing on top of it, which just does not look good
Really?
with the Gothic architecture.
Or is this just something they're saying they might consider doing?
No, that was the actual plan.
It was I'll look it up. I'll Google it while you guys are working. I'm going to shut up. Find something to do. You guys, we're out of here at 11:40. This gives you a good 20 minutes to at least get started. Oh, the checkout thing already did turn on. No worries. I'll shut up. Okay, what you have?
I don't know, my dad got it. It's nice.
There's only a few minutes left in class. Make sure you check out. Do the little checkout question, even if it's strange to you. Oh no, that's not the straight. Yesterday was the straight. The one that bump and you bump, you bump, you bump. Flip with the chair and then chair around again.
I think there was a Betty Boop reference in there.
The check-in.
And then do we have to do an exit ticket or no?
They did what you did yesterday, and they had one to leave the room. Hey, I hope you guys have a good day. I hope you have a good tomorrow. I'll say it one more time. Tomorrow's a remote day. At 7 o'clock, there's going to be an assignment for me, and it's just going to be me talking about the rubric, okay? And I'm going to say, here's kind of what A papers look like, and here's what below ground to be buried with toxic waste papers look like, and here are the criteria of all those things. And then all you do is kind of watch it, and then I'll ask you a question about it, and then you say, okay. I don't think you need, if every teacher gives you like 45 minutes of screen time, you guys will be staring at a screen for like 5 hours straight. So mine is not going to be 45 minutes long. Mine's going to be, you may have noticed I speak quickly, and I also speak quickly with a mask on. So my theory is if you get like 40% of it, that's probably okay, because I generally repeat myself 3 times, so you still come out ahead. If you're at home, what are they? Minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
Call 1-800-Friesen now.
Hopefully, we will continue to have lovely days. The Denver Nuggets will continue to win. What did you say?
We're going up against the Lakers, they're gonna get crushed.
We were supposed to get crushed against the Clippers.
No.
Yes,
Yeah,
19 predictors said we were going to lose this.
The Clippers and the Lakers are two different teams.
Yeah. Yes, I'm aware of that. I'm aware that hockey is different than hot air ballooning. All right, are we good? Was this the class? No, this was not the class. Never mind. I had a class where something funny happened, but not in this one. This one is just work and pain. Misery. If you're at home, you have to check out. If you don't check out, I mark you absent, and I deduct 30 points from your grade. And you only have like 90 points right now anyway, even if you had them all, which you don't. Show up. Attendance is half the battle.
How are you supposed to learn anything from that?
What?
How are you supposed to learn anything if you're not there?
Good point. I don't even know. Like, I just come here so I can get a paycheck. Okay? It doesn't matter what I do. We could watch old Ren and Stimpy cartoons and I'd still get paid. Are you filming me right now? I'm just kidding. This is filming me right now. Everything I say is being recorded. When I'm famous, you guys will go back and say, oh, I was there. Your way. So people will know you'll be able to sell this footage. Have a good day. Don't smoke. 7 days to write 650 words. That's 100 words a day. Have fun. Bye. Nice to meet you again. If you're here for the first time, nice to meet you for the first time. That's you, right, Josh?
That is
You're here for the first time. Nice. Welcome. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Well.
Mr. Friesen.
Hey, thank you.
I'm glad I finally heard that, time where.
What?
Kaylin said that your time rant was famous, and now I've heard it.
The 10,880 minutes?
Yes.
I don't rant. Give me a break. Thoughtfully screamed at you. Anthony, you all right?
Yes.
Really? Okay. Off you go. You didn't even bring lunch for that. That's good. Take it out. See?
An absolute crap load of lunch in my
All right.
backpack.
A crap load. Eventually, yes.
We're talking like enough to feed 2 of me.
All right. All right. Well,
That's a lot.
or one bigger of you.
That's like a couple crackers.
Alex, thank you. Goodbye. Have a nice day. See you. Let's go. Keep moving. Let's go. We got to get these pineapples to Hawaii. Let's go. Welcome. Welcome.
Mr. Friesen.
How are you? Who the heck are you? Nice. You? Ian. All right. Hello.
Hi.
Ah! So if you're at home, welcome. Oh, I got 2 streamers already. All right. Don't forget to ring the bell, like, and subscribe.
I'll like and subscribe.
Thank
I
you.
like and subscribe to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would not. I can pay 400.
No, you're not. No, would you, like, you make sure.
For 400. You still get 400 bucks either way. One more point.
That's a dumb question.
No, it's to make sure you're reading the question thoroughly. There's your point.
And then I saw last week, he said they're down 3-1, they will not come back against the Clippers. And what happened? They came back against the Clippers.
I'm just gonna wait for the Nuggets to have 31 again. What they can make all the
I gotta just. Oh, I worked that.
Where'd you get that?
Why do you want to this like this?
I got you, dude.
What?
Sitting back here.
Well, that's part of the course, right?
Yeah, you know, why do you want
Hello.
Friesen.
The desks are probably wet,
I
so
turned in all my missing assignments.
all of them, huh?
Yes.
All right.
There's the ones that
Who are you?
Trent.
Trent.
I went through all my Google Classroom stuff.
Sweet. Make sure you turn them in a reasonable amount of time. Everybody
Yeah,
loses
fine.
1 point a day. And you turn in something 16 points late or 10% a day. That's tough.
Oh, see, I was running out yesterday and I was here.
The mark that, did you check in and check out in the proper time?
I
Seems-
checked in a
seems
little
like-
late because we were purchasing a new vehicle.
Oh, nice.
What were you?
Sounds very like.
Sounds to me like, yeah. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, wow.
Attendance. I guarantee you, whatever you're talking about is a you problem, not a me problem.
No, I'm just saying I was here.
Okay,
And I
let's
watched
see.
the YouTube live.
Okay, good. Good, good, good.
Oh, I did that too. I like you.
Boom. Yeah, so you checked, you checked in early and you never checked out. So you have to, I know, it's amazing.
I'm not kidding you, I checked out.
No,
Did it not go through?
I don't know.
I know, but I can't get an absent fail as fast as my graduate.
I know, so you better get your act together.
I
I know.
literally.
Oh, I've read your admin comments. This isn't the first time you've struggled with things, okay?
What are you talking about?
Oh, come on.
What?
I know, well, we could talk about it later, but trust me, I have a system that works. You just have to work in the system, right? We'll check out on time.
There, check out.
Thank you.
Now I gotta check one.
And if Trent, if you want to stick around at the end of class and we can talk about where we're at and make a plan forward, we should probably do that now.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Just for like 2 seconds, we'll just walk through. What? Deal. Thanks. Welcome everybody online. Happy schoolings.
Take $400 to buy me some stuff in my truck. Dude, people in Africa eat crickets. I'll be fine.
Dude, the second thing says you don't have to do anything before.
No, sir, people do, like it happened really quickly, so what?
Well, read the second question, you don't have to do anything and you get 400.
No, it's saying I would not eat a cereal full of electric for $400.
Exactly. I think you're reading it the right way.
Oh,
Ah, wait a minute.
That's
Are
what
you
I
reading it the
thought
right
it
way?
said. I would eat them.
Dude, $400?
No, he's like, no, you don't do anything. 400. I was like, really? I feel like that's like the one.
See?
He's like, no, it's fine. That's
Yeah, I caught on to it. I'm not bad.
Rip my $400. Rip my visible point.
Alrighty then. Hey, welcome to English class. Thanks for coming. Thanks for making English a part of your day. Happy Thursday. I think it feels a little like a Friday though, because school is, well, it's online tomorrow, but this is certainly the last day of in-building things. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you're at home, great. Looks like 6 people are there. If you ever want to make a little comment, we can certainly do that too. Let me take roll. First roll is kind of a time-consuming thing because I have to take it both here and online, but we'll figure it out. Hey, welcome. Who are you? William. Show up on time, okay? It says one-way halls, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll get you every time, isn't it? William. Martin, right? Nice. And you are? Abby. All right. And I'm trying to learn names. And you're a remote, and you're remote. And you are, wait, don't tell me. Okay, I've narrowed it down to 2, but I'm going to get it wrong. So, yes, that's what I thought. I guarantee you that's what I thought. And you are, wait, don't tell me. I've narrowed it down to 1.
Owen Schumacher.
That's it.
I don't know. Owen? All right. And you are, sorry, hi, phone, hello? Hi. Aiden. Thank you so much. And you are Trent. And you are Christian. And you, wrong thing. And you are Christian. And you are Ian. And you are, don't tell me. You are Zoe. And you are Ray. And you are, wait, don't tell me. Renee. Everybody who's supposed to be here is here today. Welcome. Thanks. And if you're at home, thanks. That's great. Here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to start class the same way I always start class, which is with a poem. At the end of the poem, you try to show you're smart and go, This poem is called At the Unnational Monument Along the Canadian Border. And it goes just like this. It's by William E. Stafford. Here we go. This is the field where the battle did not happen, where the unknown soldier did not die. This is the field where grass joined hands, where no monument stands, and the only heroic thing is the sky. Birds fly here without any sound, unfolding their wings across the open. No people killed or were killed on this ground, hallowed by neglect in an air so tame that people celebrate by forgetting its name. And you guys say, here we go. Today what we're going to do, if you are at home, you need to check in on Google Classroom. If you are here, you need to check in on Google Classroom. Let me show you why in just a second. So go ahead and check in right now on your device, on any sort of device. We will be using your computers today, so if you want to fire them up, that's cool. Here's why I'd like you to check in on Google Classroom. Let me pick a different class so nobody in here gets embarrassed. There we go. So let's just do that. Let's just make fun of people with other classes. So here we go. This is what happens on Google Classroom when people turn things in. Just look real quick. See, I have all these things, all these checks and missings and stuff. And why would I possibly want to have missings next to your name for attendance if you are in fact here? So please check in, and it just shows me you're here. I know you're here because I have a little check by your name. But if you're remote, I have to have you check in and check out, or I have to mark you as absent, and because that's how we do things. Now, if you make a mistake and you don't check in, well, then we talk about that. Or if but ultimately, it's just part of the game. Set a reminder on your phone or something, and just say bzz, it'll buzz. You check in 5 minutes, 5 minutes on each end of the class, and we're good to go. We good? We checked in. We answered the question. Now the question is it a good question? Is it a good question? And the way we know if it's a good question is if the amount that I chose is actually the right amount. Let's see. So here we go. Here's where we're at, right? Oops, I didn't do that. Don't do that. We want that here. Let's see. So right now, most people, yes, and maybe it's because we're interpreting the question right. I would not eat a barrel bowl of cereal for $400. Now, take away the option that you can do nothing for $400. Would that change anybody's response?
Yeah, then I would do that.
What if I said, what if I paid you, $14,000 to eat a bowl of Black Crickets? What if I paid you 80 cents to eat a bowl of Black Crickets? Like, what is your number? That's what we have to
I think my
decide.
minimum would be.
In one of my classes, it was actually perfect. It was perfect 10 and 10. So I think I picked the perfect number. But I actually think I'm going a little low. I think I probably need to offer you guys a little more. Anyway, so you check in every day. It's essential. Tomorrow is a remote class. I'll say this several times today. You need to check in. And you check in anywhere between 7:30 and noon, or 11:30, I guess it is. And you just check in. There's going to be an assignment waiting for you. It is a video of me staring into the screen talking to you. And all you have to do is watch it and then click I watched it and you're done. That's it. Okay. And then that's all there is to that. Here's what we're going to do. Welcome and poem check. We're doing the agenda now. Check. I'm going to hand you your school picture. The last time ever you get high school or public school pictures. You were supposed to do an entrance slip. That was part of the assignment for yesterday. So if you have that, I'll take that from you. If you don't have that, then you probably need to figure out what you're missing. But I'll be collecting those in just a moment. The people that were here gave me an exit slip. Then I'm going to talk to you about the 4 criteria. Hi. Who are you? Oh, that's right. You switched days. That's right. You switched days. Welcome. Show up on time, please. Here we go. And you are here. So you're not remote. You're just switched days. I thought, okay, I have it that you switch platforms too, but we're good. We're going to talk about these 4 criteria for your personal statement essay. We're going to talk a little bit, tiny bit about what you were supposed to do for today. I gave you for today 4 more essays to look at. We're called Drowned While Swaying. One was called Farming. One was called Daily Show. One was called Superpowers. And I asked you to read 3 and annotate 2. We're going to do a little exercise, take 10 minutes, called livening up your writing. And then ultimately, I'm going to give you the prompts and I'm going to let you start writing. And a bunch of people can get a crack at it. 1 week from today, you have to have a draft, 450 to 650 word draft of this essay. So we've done enough prep work. Now we're going to actually do the writing work today. So that's all the exciting stuff today. Check in if you've not yet checked in. Here we go. So school pictures. Now, you guys can decide if you want to trade these with your friends or if you guys want to put these up on your refrigerator. But these are your school pictures. Not really. Let's see. There you go. Also an opportunity for me to learn your name. This person's at home right now. This person's sitting over here right now. This person's over here. Which one? Is that me? It does look like me, doesn't it? Yeah. Who is that? Who is that? You gotta know who that is. Come on. Sexiest man alive, 1989. Right there. Ooh. I'm sure that's one. At some point, I don't know. I'll probably have yours from another day. Pretty exciting.
Yeah.
These are kind of meaningless, but I don't want them, so I'm giving them to you so that you can not want them. All right. Nope. These people don't even go to this school anymore. Crazy. All right. I think school pictures used to be a bigger deal than they are because they were your only picture of your child. Like when you got abducted, this was the picture that went on the milk box. Now they just go on your Instagram and find you taking a picture up your nose. All right, almost there. Nope. I don't know. You may be out of luck. I don't know. It's okay because they're meaningless when I do that. All right, here we go. Next thing we're doing today is this. In-person interest slips, you guys have those? If you don't have them, you can feel bad about yourself right now. Anybody have them? Going once? Anybody see? You did your homework. Yay, see? Yay, you have it, see? Perfect. All this was just you telling me where you are in the process. And where you could be is like, I'm lost. What? Then you would just share it with me. That was, yeah, at some point. Some people share it electronically. Thank you. Yay. Okay. No, turn it in late.
Wait, we just write something down?
You do just write something down.
What do you need to write down for?
It was yesterday's assignment. It was during the video yesterday.
If I write down what you're
I was
missing.
brain, so I can share it.
Perfect. See, that works like a charm. See? Got it? Yay. Okay. So here's the deal. I give lots of assignments. Okay. If you miss one here or there, no big deal, right? But if you have a pattern of missing things, we should probably come up with a better way for you to exist. So here we go. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go back into last class and you can look it up. You can turn it in late, but it's not worth doing late because you have 24 hours for anything that's late. Here we go. Here's the 4 criteria that we're going to use to evaluate the quality of your personal statement essay. A personal statement essay, let me reiterate, all it is, it's a narrative, which means it's a story. It's telling a tale about who's the main character, you. And this personal narrative statement essay, we have done some activities on these, and these are the 4 things that need to be present in your personal statement essay. Number 1 is vulnerability. Some people think vulnerability is weakness. It can be, but the way we're treating vulnerability right now is just your willingness to tell something personal. It's your willingness to say something that somebody else couldn't say. It is your tale. So vulnerability doesn't mean that I'm not good at this. Vulnerability just means I'm willing to put myself out there. Number 2 is values. Your value or values have to be somewhere in there. You don't necessarily want to scream, I think integrity is the most important thing. But at some point, your paper should offer an insight into your character and your essence. Bottom line is something that is intangible about you, whether that's family or trust or perseverance, whether it's empathy for others, or whether it's a great sense of humor, okay? Superpower is the thing that we did last time, where you did that little sideways sheet, and you went from something that happened that was a challenge for you, and then what was its effect, which made you feel something, which gave you a need, which then caused you to do something or whatever. And ultimately, what you do and it's your superpowers. It's anything inside that makes you who you are, that makes you special. All of you have those things within you. It could be your willingness to do this, or the fact that I can juggle. Somewhere in there's going to be something that's like, wow, this is this person who is beyond just that small quality of human. What else? What is super about you? So these 3 all have to do with the personal nature of the story. And then the last thing you have to do, which is what we're going to work on today, is it actually has to show that you can write. And this is where you show that you have ability with language and communication. All of the models I've given you, not only do they tell a story of values, vulnerability, and superpower, but they all also show the person can write, okay? So the ones we read for today, I want to glance at them real quick. They were Drowned by Swaying, Farming a Future, Superpowers, or The Daily Show. Let me crack them up real quick. Bless you, or cough you. Bottom line is I asked you 2. I said there are 4 model essays. I need you to read 3 of them. And I need you then, after you've read 3, to select 2. And I wanted you to annotate them. And I gave you some things to annotate for. Annotate for their organization, for their use of metaphor, for what you thought of the style and the voice, ultimately the overall tone of the piece, and risk. Where did you see this writer's taking risks? And the first one was called Drowned by Swaying, about the surgical procedure. Then the one was called Farming a Future, which was about volunteering, perhaps, at the farmer's market. The third one was about superpowers, and this was this one about both connecting local things to global things, and ultimately becoming kind of a major thing. This kid flew at the end. And then The Daily Show, where a person would kind of watch this show, and then it made the person think a little bit more about debate and looking for multiple sides of any given story. Does anybody have anything? And then what I asked you guys to do was annotate those, but ultimately we were trying to see that these things possessed vulnerability, values, superpower, and craft as writers. Does anybody have any comments or questions about that work for today? Because I did this with yesterday. We spent a bunch of time with this, but then I didn't feel like y'all had enough time to actually get writing, which I want you to do in class. Does anybody have any questions on that assignment? Anybody have anything about that?
Is that the one where we do
That was the one that was due at 7:35 this morning.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have to arrange like reading and adding comments, or at the end of them, do you want us to like write a summary, like the what, how?
Nope. No, this one, the entire goal was just to do up here where it says, where it said, select 2 essays and annotate them and show thorough engagement as you annotate. And that's all.
Okay.
That's all. Good question. Anybody else? These 4 essays were the 4 that I gave you the other day. Those were essays out in the world. They're college essays. They're people that are dealing with stuff in the work world. These were all 4 essays written by people just like you. They're Columbine High School students writing for this assignment. So these were all like the kind of thing that you guys can do. These are very much high school essays. Okay, these 4. So if you haven't had a chance to read them because you didn't do it, you should absolutely go back and look at those. I believe we do learn through seeing models. If you want to become a better cook, probably be in your best interest to be with and watch and emulate the abilities of better cooks than you. If you want to be a better guitarist, maybe you find the person on YouTube that can show you how to play that lick from Freebird or whatever. All right, so here we go. What are we doing today? Well, today what we're going to do is we're going to, is that it? Livening up your writing? Yep. Today what we're going to do is we're going to look at this piece called Woofy Down the Well. And what we're going to do is we're not going to talk about vulnerability values or superpower. What we're going to talk about is just craft. We're just going to look at how this thing was written. And we're going to look at some tricks you could use within your writing, perhaps to make it a little more lively. These are things which generally you don't do a lot of in English class lately. Basically, when you were a little kid, my wife teaches 4th grade, a lot of the writing she has her students do, she asks them to do things like this, like use dialogue or use a simile or do some personification. But by the time you get to high school, we've kind of beaten that out of you. And basically, a lot of the writing we do in English classes, we take somebody else who's doing those things, like a poet or a novelist. And then we have you write in a very expository way about those things. But now we're asking you to come back to that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Woofy Down the Well together. And we're going to have mandatory voluntary participation at the end, okay? We're not just going to look at the tale, but we're going to look at how it's told. We're going to look at this story's lively writing. The words on this page, or the words you write should feel as they're barely confined to the page. So how do you make your story more lively? Well, you might want to try these things. Let me really quickly remind you of these things. You haven't had this either in 6 months or in 10 years. Personification is what? Personification is giving something that's non-human, human-like characteristics. There's also something called animation, which is making things that are not alive, alive. But unfortunately, we all connote animation with like Beauty and the Beast. But personification or animation is only making things that are not alive, alive, which is a lie. Repetition is anything that happens more than once. It could be a sentence structure, it could be a word, it could be a sound, it could be a phrase. Repetition creates patterns. Human beings love patterns. They love to take things out and see, oh, how did they connect? Repetition is a way of creating pattern. Imagery. You all have 5 senses. In the story, there's going to be 6 senses, but you only have 5. And what imagery is something that activates your sense of sight, smell, touch, feeling, or hearing. And the reason we do that is if we can use words that activate our senses, then all of a sudden we're doing the piece becomes alive. Some people think, philosophers who believe in empiricism, they think the only way you can understand the world is through experiencing it through your 5 senses. Alliteration, does anybody remember what that one is? Alliteration is repetition of what? The initial sound of something, okay? So something like the bouncing baby boy would be alliterative. Dialogue is anything that's in quotation marks that someone says out loud. Now, inside a personal story, that could be interesting because a lot of times a personal story is a person talking to him or herself. And then, so we have some things that are, your voice will be in your entire personal narrative, but sometimes you get to be your voice inside your voice, which can be an interesting thing. You can play with fonts if you want, like all capital letters or italics. I don't know if you guys noticed in the story of Drowning and Swaying, the second word in that essay was italicized. You also may have noticed the font choice at the very end with the drowning part. Allusion. Does anybody know what an allusion with an A is? Illusion is magic tricks. Anybody know what an allusion is? That's probably the one up there that's the trickiest. Allusion is, oh yeah, what is it?
Isn't it like a reference or something there?
Bingo. It's a reference to something else. So if inside my speech, I then refer to bearing the cross, well, that's an allusion to the Bible, or somebody might say something that alludes to history or another story. I think this piece has 5 allusions in it. Simile is a comparison using like or as. Similes are true. Metaphors are comparisons without using like or as. Metaphors are all lies. Varied sentence length. I want you to pay attention to short sentences and long sentences in what we're reading. Word choice. That's picking the perfect word. I'm going to give you a word. Mad. I'm extremely mad right now. Give me a word that means the exact same thing as mad, but isn't the same word. Go. I'm extremely livid. So now we have livid and we have mad. There's a choice in that word. Give me another one.
Frustrated.
Frustrated. Give me another one. Angry. Give me another one. But the whole point of the story is you can pick words that maybe aren't the first word we come to. My wife teaches 4th grade. She has the bad, sad, mad, glad rule. You're not supposed to talk about those things because there's a better word for all of those things. So picking the best words. Selection of detail, that's anything where that you're trying to just very clearly describe it. You could say this is a desk, but what else could you say about this desk? It's a blue desk. You could also say that it has a slight sheen to it, that it is mostly curved, or what, I don't know. You start describing it with more than just what it is. You start using adjectives or adverbs. Rhythm is anything that happens sequentially that creates a pattern. So rhythm is tied to repetition. And even in writing, you have rhythmic structures. Symbolism, something represents something else, kind of like a metaphor, whatever. So we're going to read a story. And all you're going to do is you're just going to tell me what you noticed. So if you could find the story on today's Google Classroom, and what we're going to do is we're going to color the story. See how nice and annotated this story is? Well, we did this together last hour, but now we're going to take all these things away. So if I go like this, and if I go on, I want it all to be just boring and awful. There it is. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read a story. Here's your job. Your job is to find something you notice about not what this story is about, but how this story is written. Okay? And when you volunteer, I'm going to have you volunteer things you notice, and you're going to borrow from other people, and we're going to end up just talking about how this thing jumps off the page. That's one of the 4 things I'm looking for when you write a personal statement is I'm looking for how you're choosing to manipulate language. Here we go. Comments, questions? Need a sip of water? Woofy down the well. Immediately you can see that this is an alliterative title because the W in woofy and the W in well is there. But anyway, here we go. Woofy down the well. Last Saturday, our home nearly suffered the loss of a dear family member. His name is Woofy, and he is our youngest son's favorite stuffed dog. Woofy is a chocolate lab with soft faux leather nose that is losing fluff from a previous wound and matted fur that proves he is a dutiful, diligently, and deeply loved. Woofy travels with us. Woofy has been to school. Woofy visits Grandma's house. Woofy is well-liked and popular among all the other stuffed animals. Woofy is a model pet. In short, Woofy is indispensable. It was early evening and the boys were upstairs playing. Hubby and I were downstairs starting dinner and enjoying the fact that the kids were laughing and not bickering for once. Suddenly the laughter was rudely interrupted by a disconsolate wail. Immediately, I froze, my mother's 6th sense instinctively trying to determine if it was a cry of physical pain, anger, indignation, or another of the myriad cries our children have perfected. I didn't have to wonder for long as our youngest appeared at the top of the stairs, mouthing completely unintelligible words, tears already streaming down his face. I realized then that it was the worst of all possible cries, the cry of heartbreak. It didn't even matter what had happened. My son was so tortured at that moment that my heart was right there with his. I felt sick to my stomach. Slow down and tell me what happened, sweetie. He barely managed a broken and pathetic woofy. Then the impossible words formed on his lips. Woofy is gone. I don't know exactly what took over my brain at that point, but I'm fairly sure that if temporary insanity exists, I had it. Apparently a deep-seated post-traumatic stress disorder memory from a stuffed animal mishap during my childhood took hold of me. I raced up the stairs, on a mission with my sobbing little boy trailing behind. Where'd he go? I screamed. My children just stared at me, clearly unsure what to make of their wild-eyed mother. They pointed to the corner of the room and an air conditioning vent that was missing its cover. I ran to the corner, flew to my son's bed as if channeling Superman, and peered down into the dark bed hole. I could see nothing. Hubby soon arrived to see just my legs and feet as the rest of me tumbled off the bed, and so I could reach down the vent to determine if Woofy went straight down or by some dumb luck hit a curve in the vent and stayed close enough to grab. Bad news. Woofy was really gone. I started shouting commands like an officer at a Marine boot camp. Give me a flashlight. I need a flashlight and tape measure now. The 3 men in my life stumbled around dumbfounded, trying to locate flashlights that were long since appropriated for more fun endeavors like making scary faces while pretending camping in the basement. When they finally located a cheap plastic children's flashlight with fresh batteries, I aimed the flashlight down the black hole. And sure enough, Woofy was down there. Way down there. 12 deep, long, bleak feet down there, to be exact. The pain of my son's face as he registered his loss was excruciating. Woofy was our baby Jessica in the well. We had to rescue him, no matter what. With hubby's stomach growling, we reconvened in the kitchen to discuss our game plan. Hubby didn't seem very concerned, given the gravity of the situation. Of course, Attila the Hun might have appeared a bit of a milquetoast when compared to my frenzied hysterics. I'll open the vent from the crawl space after dinner, he said, far too calmly for my liking. It may not seem this way to you, I said in my most restrained, protective mama bear voice, but this is an emergency. I stomped downstairs to the crawl space, fully intending to take care of the situation myself, until I got there and stared into the recesses of that cavernous space, the space that is filled with spiders, large wolf spiders, known in our house only as the creatures that must not be named. Realizing that I was not going to let this go until Woofy had been rescued, hubby caved. With flathead screwdriver in hand, he braved the depths of the crawl space and went working, taking the vent apart. The boys and I stayed near the crawl space, ready to help in any way possible, as long as actually entering the crawl space did not come into play. In a few short minutes, I watched my husband become a hero as he pulled Woofy from the vent and gently handed him to his cheerful owner. In that moment, it went from threat level red to threat level green in our house. We all took turns hugging Woofy and talking about how happy we were. Disaster averted, crisis resolved. The nightmare was over. Or so I thought. 3 nights later at dinner, we were talking about the whole ordeal again when our little guy spoke up. Can we please stop talking about Woofy? He said, nearly in tears. I knew that this experience would change my son the way I was changed 30 years earlier, when my beloved orange beanbag dog, Drooper, sustained a life-threatening loss of beans during a household tussle. Someday I imagine that my son will have his own post-traumatic stress moment when his child's stuffed toy is in peril. I know he will react as I did. He will relive the entire emotional experience of fearing that the thing you love most has been lost forever and temporarily misplace his sanity. And hopefully in that moment, his memory will erase the near loss of Woofy and in his place put a new memory, the memory of a wild-eyed father who would not rest until all was set right again. So here's what I need you to do. I would like you to look for these things. I'd like for you to look for these things in that piece. So you've got it in front of you. Just take a look at that piece, Woofy's piece. If you've cracked it up on your screen. If not, put it on your screen real quick. And then we're going to just bounce around the room and we're going to try to have a discussion a little bit about how this essay, or how this little story is, I'm going to add hyperbole because this thing has tons of hyperbole. We're going to talk a little bit about that as we go. So take a second or two and come up with something to say about Woofy. I'm going to take attendance while you guys do this. Which is easy if you're here. Okay, I've taken attendance. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Yay. So I'll start, and this is just what you need to do. And you should volunteer, because if you don't volunteer, I'll call on you, which is just terrible. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to say something that you noticed that is a way this writer is writing, a choice this writer is making to liven up the thing. So I'm going to give you one that I know you won't do. So I'm going to point out baby Jessica. Woofy was our baby Jessica in the well. And that is an allusion that you probably don't get. Maybe you do get it. Baby Jessica was a girl that in some state, Iowa, Ohio, a lot of vowel state, she fell down a well. And they spent days getting her out of this well. And all of the national news coverage came down. And everybody on TV in the 1980s was talking about baby Jessica. And would they rescue this baby who fell down a well? So this is an allusion to a news event that you guys probably are unaware of, but it was a big deal at the time. What did you guys notice? Go, everybody volunteer. You have to go. Where did you notice personification, alliteration, use of sentence structure, capitalization, anything? Go. Okay, we got, and I'm gonna try to learn names kind of while I do this, please. So wait, I'm on the wrong page. Be patient with me. Back there is Ian.
Simile, shouting commands like an officer in a Marine boot camp.
Very good. I started shouting commands like an officer at a Marine boot camp is a simile. That is completely, it's true, because it could be like a person there, but that's a good simile, obviously emphasizing the urgency of the situation. Next, we have, over there, sorry, we have, don't tell me, I'm really trying to learn. Ray.
I don't know, but if you go down a little.
Yep.
It says most restrained, protected on their place.
Yep. Most restrained, protective mom of every voice. What would you call that?
Like
The tone?
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great phrase. The tone is created by things they do. So yeah, and what kind of tone is this? A tone of protection, a tone of care, a tone of even urgency perhaps, but a tone of strength perhaps. And of course you could call this an allusion too, because this alludes perhaps to, fairy tales, because it's not a bear, it's a mama bear, which is in perhaps, bedtime stories or whatever. Nice, next, Ashton. No, are you Ashton? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm right. I'm so good.
Like started saying what he is gone, like kind of personification, I guess, because like
This here?
yeah, because like they're kind of talking to him about Luffy and like the way he's a person.
Okay, yeah, so we're certainly animating, like, yeah, Woofy is gone, creating like this lifelike thing. We have that everywhere, like the idea that like Woofy is popular, among his stuffed animal friends. That's that same idea that we're making this thing that is not alive. What else? Keep going. Ooh, I know. Oh, and thanks. Oh, sorry. I'll get you next.
They use a lot of like dialogue.
Okay, yeah, so tons of dialogue, and so we have this coming out. So the narrator of the story is also a character in the story. Sometimes the narrator talks, get me a flashlight, and sometimes other people talk. So tons of dialogue. That's easy to find, but I'm not going to highlight it all. Zoe?
Maybe under the where you go, like the paragraph underneath that,
Yes.
when they're talking about the apparently a deep-seated post-traumatic stress disorder memory.
Yeah?
That part, I guess that's explained.
Oh, this part. Yeah, and what were you saying about the deep-seated post-traumatic stress disorder? Why does that jump out at you?
I don't know.
Okay.
It just did.
Okay. Well, certainly, I think it's word choice, and the way I had to read it too, I actually had to kind of change the cadence of my voice because you're getting this deep-seated post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's word choice of like a true psychological condition. I think this is true, and I love it. Apparently, this very precise thing. Yeah, I really love the word choice there. Nice. What else? Next human. Wait, don't tell me. Aiden.
Like where it says, like I flew onto my son's bed as if I was channeling Superman. That's kind of like more of a metaphor because it's not actually doing that.
Right. So it's a simile because it is the word as, but all similes are metaphors. Not all metaphors are similes. All metaphors are comparisons. Then those that use like or as are a subset called similes.
Yeah.
So this is a simile allusion, which is completely a lie. Okay, but maybe apparently making this woman a macho man, human person. Christian.
When it says, of course, to tell the Hun might have appeared a bit Milotos.
Yeah.
That's illusion.
Illusion, exactly right. Also, this word milk toast is a word choice that this person knows that you would have to look up. Milk toast, someone who's milk toast is just so calm that they're boring. They're just so vanilla, so beige. And so this idea, her frenzied hysterics as a counterpoint to milk toast, but it is a word choice. You know, there's nothing wrong with doing the right click and learning a word. It's nothing wrong with using a great word choice. Will.
Wes.
Will.
Oh.
Then Wes.
Emphasize like when she's like screaming or whatever.
Yeah, where's that?
All capital. Like,
Yeah, all caps. We got that right. We got now in all caps.
Yeah.
If you do this, apparently you're like yelling when you text this to somebody, right? Somebody told me like a couple of years ago, almost everything you ever turn into me, the last thing I type is thanks, THANKS period. I heard once that's like super rude, thanks, you know? But I will always tell you thanks. Just say, I turn my paper and I'll be like, thanks, okay? But I'm really saying thanks, okay? Because I've never used an exclamation point in my life. This all caps, if you used in all caps, like way down there in your paper, and you used it a couple of times, that may be really powerful. If you use it all the time, I'm like, you're just yelling at me though. It's fun because sometimes the yelling is the characters, but then sometimes the yelling is actually in the dialogue there. Wes!
All right, when it says in that moment, what Brett went red to Brett went green,
Yep.
that's kind of dialogue.
Why is it, it's not dialogue.
Or
Dialogue would be things that are said out loud. But I do think it's an important little section. What is it referring to? It's referring to like a military kind of crisis or a governmental crisis, you know?
Right.
So we're leaving this world. It's metaphorical writing. What else? Ooh. Come on, I want to go. I've been to come to class all this way to come to class and say something. Yeah, Trent.
I said, thinking like 12 deep, long, 3 feet, that's imagery or like.
Yep.
Personification maybe.
Yeah, a lot of things. So here we go. Watch this. Wolfie was down there. Wolfie was way down there. Wolfie was 12 deep, long, bleak feet down there. So we have this repetition. Why? Well, apparently we're trying to emphasize how way down it was by saying it 3 times. But by the time, as you point out, we get to this description, we have a lot of selection of detail there that just really kind of emphasizes, I believe, that.
Yeah.
It's not personification, but it definitely is emphasis with descriptive language, selection of detail. What else? Ooh. Ashton.
I actually just was gonna ask you to use that.
Yeah, absolutely. Next. That's fine. No worries. We absolutely do that. Ooh, anything else, right? Okay, so I'm not. Well, if you didn't go, you have to go. Renee,
Yeah. thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't see you. There's a big
I know.
monitor in your face.
Yeah. So the second sentence just describes the stuffed animal, so that's descriptive language.
Nice. Maybe this one here with soft faux leather nose. Yeah, that's imagery because you're tactile, because you can feel the softness there and losing fluff, the selection of detail, you know, from a previous wound. Stuffed animals don't get wounds. That's called animation, animism, or making it alive. You know, matted fur, nice details. Nice. And then what about dutiful, diligently, and deeply loved? What are we gonna say about that? Since we're here, alliteration, okay, so we get this list of qualities. Alliteration creates repetition. Abby, huh? What?
Like the personification was like the Lucy one right before
Which one?
right there.
Here?
Yeah,
And you're personifying?
so that works.
Absolutely. I think I do think the idea of, calling this thing that it can respond, no. And then, it's all over the place. Nicely done. Anybody else? Did everybody go about a bunch of times? That's great. Okay. So it's clearly everywhere. I mean, what about this word like hubby, I mean, certainly that sets the tone as this kind of domestic scene, perhaps. I don't know. It's in there. So, you guys had to get this one. Let's do this one paragraph together real quick. I stomped downstairs. What are most people going to write? I went downstairs, right? So try to use active verbs. What does the stomp convey? The stomp conveys what? Aggression, force, how mad she is at hubby at this point. Now it's a crawl space, but we get down there and the crawl space has turned into a cavernous space. Do you see the repetition there? The crawl space is something you have at the bottom of your house. But what's the cavernous space? What's the root of the word cavernous? Cavern. What's cavern mean? Cave. So now they have a cave, and what's happening now? We've got like this quest into a cave, and what are we going to find in the cave? Not just spiders, because those are found in crawl spaces, but what are found in caverns? Large wolf spiders. Not just large wolf spiders, but creatures that must not be named, which of course is an allusion to what? Harry Potter. All right, nerds. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. What? Oh, and by the way, did you guys find 2-word sentences in this piece? Find 2-word sentences in this essay or this story. 2-word sentences. There's like a few. Oh, there's the word this. That's capital M. Find a 2-word sentence in this thing. You can do it. Don't you have it in front of you on your little
I found
computer
a
screen?
3-word sentence.
What was that?
I found a 3-word sentence. Bad news. Period.
Bad news. How powerful it is in a bunch of long sentences to do a 2-word sentence. It really jumps out at you. Maybe you can challenge yourself to vary. Maybe some of you will write a 1-word sentence somewhere in your paper. You know? What about writing a 2-word sentence followed immediately by a 20-word sentence followed immediately by a 2-word sentence? I mean, are you creating some sort of flow? Or what about this? Disaster averted. 2-word sentence. Boom. Crisis resolved. Boom. You know? It was over. And it was over. Boom.
Action stuff.
Yeah, it is. This is so exciting. I can't believe how exciting it is. I'm going to say one more thing. I'm going to tell you that this last sentence, without this last sentence, see, the story could have ended with it was over, because that's the end of the story. But then what do we have at the end? What your story has to have. And you can tack it on to the end. You can weave it all the way through. But what do we have in here? You have vulnerability, values, and superpowers. What is this person's superpower? Is it her care for her children? Is it her ability to understand and empathize with someone in need? What is this person's value? And I really love this. I mean, this sentence that's kind of hiding in here, the emotional experience, look at this sentence here, or this phrase. The emotional experience of fearing that the thing you love most has been lost forever. What is the thing you love most in the entire world? And what would happen if you lost it forever? And what does that do to us? We all can share that value. Nobody has a woofy animal, right? I don't know what your animal is called. What was yours called? No? My child, I have 2 children, 2 human children who live in my home. The youngest is 14. She had a creature named Dee Dee. Somebody gave it to her when she was born. Dee Dee was a stuffed pig. And she had Dee Dee, and Dee Dee was with her. And Dee Dee was lost, and my daughter freaked out. So what did I do? I went online and bought another Dee Dee and said, look what I found, okay? And that Dee Dee, unfortunately, well, it's both unfortunate and fortunate, because that Dee Dee that I bought her when she was like 1.5 was still available to be purchased. Exactly the same one, because it was a Beanie Baby. It was a collector's item. So I had to find a place on Amazon that had it, and I bought it for $18. And then she lost it again 3 years later. And then I had to find it, and it was no longer on Amazon, but it was on Amazon, but it was at a collector's store in New York City. So then I had to pay $37 for another Dee Dee, and then she had Dee Dee, and then she lost Dee Dee again. And then by the time she lost it the 3rd time, I bought 3 of them. So I still have 3 Dee Dees in storage for this child, but we broke her of this thing. But I don't want my child to fear the thing. I don't want my child ever to fear losing the thing that she loves most. That destroys me as a father. I have almost no heart and no empathy. But when I know that my child is hurting, nothing destroys me more than this. And what is she saying? That I don't want my child to have this, but I also want my child to grow up and be able to be that for somebody else, because she wants her young boy to grow up to become a wild-eyed father who will set things right. And so this is what is this story about? 2 choices. You can either say this story is about a stuffed animal, and that's okay. But you can also say this is a story about setting things right. And that's the difference between the value in the story and the subject in the story. That's the difference between the what and the why. What I'm going to ask you guys to do is I'm going to ask you, and you 2 at home, like and subscribe and ring the bell. And by the way, if you haven't got a good night's sleep lately, Casper mattress is amazing, because a Casper mattress They actually ship this mattress to you, and it's a superior mattress product. And if you go to caspermattress.com/Friesen English, you can get 10% off your order. Okay, it'll ship right to your door. You can sleep on it free for 90 days. And if you don't like it, you send it right back. I guarantee you the nicest sleep you'll ever have. Casper Mattress. Like and subscribe. Anyway, ultimately, you get 7 days. In 7 days, you're going to be back in this class virtually, or you'll be here. Whoa. You need to have a rough draft in 7 days. I don't want a final copy because I want to take your rough draft and I want to do this to it. I want to take your rough draft and say, what's a better phrase? What is a way to clean it up? I just get it out for now, but then we'll try to pretty it up. We'll try to liven it up. And we'll say, hey, have you thought about your sentence length? Hey, what are 5 words in this that you could find a better, more descriptive word choice? Hey, where's a moment where you could describe this? Okay. Comments, questions? As soon as Ashton comes back.
Yeah, that kid's been gone for like 12 minutes.
I know, it's crazy. I know.
You just wait in his truck and then call
Here we
him.
go. Okay, so here we go. Personal essay prompts. I gave you these prompts. If you're at home, you got these yesterday. If you are here, you're getting them now. They're also online. These are the essay prompts, okay? You will select one of these. There are 6 essay prompts, except for the last one is do whatever you want essay prompt. So it actually is the most open essay you've received in school in a long time. Because number 7 is write an essay.
So if we write an essay about how we want the PS5.
No.
All right. Oh, look at that. Even ran out. Don't tell Ashton. Okay? So you're going to have to pick one of these 6 essay prompts or the 7th one. And if you, but bottom line is, the work we already did in class probably aligns with these things already. So for example, if you did the essence object box assignment, seriously, you could totally use that for prompt 1. Because I bet something in your essence object says something about your background, identity, interest, or talent. And so the idea is that you have something that makes you distinct. Or maybe it's number 6. Maybe it's the thing with which you engage that makes you lose all track of time. And so you get into that object as an object correlative, that's something that holds meaning. Or maybe doing that exercise yesterday where we started with, here's a challenge I faced and an effect I had, and here's a feeling I associated and a need. Well, those are probably like questions 2 or 3, where we face an obstacle and we then learn something from it, or we question an idea and there was an outcome, or maybe there was a period of personal growth. You know, if you did the values exercise, your value is probably going to be attached to something that maybe you see as a problem or something that you, challenge a belief. I'll get you a piece of paper in a minute. I ran out. Anyway, your job is to select one of these prompts and then write. For now, don't worry about your formatting of it, okay? Don't say, oh, does it have to be 12 point? Don't, whatever. Bottom line is just start writing, okay? The way we write is we write. You have to ultimately write between 450 and 650 words. The best way to write 650 words is to write 649 words and 648, okay? You just have to get there. So just start writing. So I'm going to shut up. You got until 1:04. That's about a half hour, not quite. Then I just want you to start writing. And think about the work you've already done in here with the essence objects, the value list, the challenges sheet, and think about yourself personally. Read through all the questions that I just gave you and just start. Here's the homework. Your homework is essentially just to work on the personal essay. So get rolling today, and then you have until next Thursday to get up to 650. On Friday, that's tomorrow, there will be a remote lesson. It will be posted before 7:30. Matter of fact, it's scheduled right now to turn on at 7 in the morning. And all you have to do is complete it by 11:30. And there's just a quick check associated with it. And all it is me talking about the way this will be scored. It'll go through the rubric, talking about qualities of the paper. Your rough draft is due the next class session. So let me know if you need help. Okay, either today in class or over the weekend or next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just email me. If you've emailed me, I bet you've seen that I tend to respond very quickly. And if I'm not responding, I'm driving or I'm asleep. I was asleep by 8:35 last night, okay? Get to bed early. Anybody else ever go to bed early? Get up early? Anybody run a 5K today? Just bad, right? Well, that's not a big deal. What were you doing at 5:05 this morning?
Sleeping.
What did I do? Running. Getting ready for the okay, but anyway. I actually get paid real American dollars to help you. I could have done anything. I could have been an astronaut or an architect. And for some reason, I decided to stand and stare at students. I decided to make 17-year-olds write things, which is such a weird job choice, okay? And at some point, you'll be 50 and well, if you live that long, but at some point, you'll say, wow, why am I doing this, Or how did I get here? You guys know why? Did I ever tell you why I'm a teacher?
Yeah.
Just your wife and Mary with.
There you go, see? So someday you'll have a story as well. At the end of the period, check out on Google Classroom. If you're like, I can't check out on Google Classroom yet, that's because it's not the end of the period yet, okay? And it turns on and you answer a question. We good? Questions, comments, concerns? All right. I'm going to give you the gift of time.
Less than like 2 minutes.
Whoa, you gave it referring time. It's like all things are converging. Find something to do. Let me help you if you need it. If you have questions, come ask.
Yo, like, why didn't our actual photos come? This is Friesen. You know why our photos didn't come? Like, your actual photo's not in there.
That's because you didn't buy
Oh.
it. No, just generalize.
You need to take-
Find something to do, please. Let me know if you need help. Let me know if you need help. And if you're turning in things late, they just come into my little late work box, and I'll get to them as soon as I can, okay?
Yeah, I submitted like 4 days on it.
Thank you.
So we know this, right, obviously. So I'm answering, like, there am I answering on the computer?
You're selecting one of these to write your 450 to 600. You're choosing one.
Oh, okay.
So pick the one that you think you can use. Pick one.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned before, I'll mention it again, if you choose to be applying to college, these are on the Common App. So in theory, you're gonna be able to use this for your Common App to grant you access to a school, or maybe give you a scholarship, or maybe next year, if you're taking a gap year off because you don't think colleges will be open next year, or you think they're a terrible waste of money, okay? Up to you. But at the end of the day, this is applicable in the real world if you want to.
Wasn't the SAT supposed to be this week?
The SAT is next Wednesday, 6 days from now.
We're all taking it?
It is the state mandated test. Betsy DeVos says that it is essential that all students take the mandated testing.
So like, we don't have a choice, we have to take it.
It is the test you were supposed to take last spring that has been pushed back. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Man, the slideshow. The one where you made it. What was it? Oh, that's-
Let's do it.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that shouldn't be. Oh, so it sounds very. No, no, yeah. But you see, no, these things are. See, this is common. Thank you, CMS, for pointing things out. So, let's see. No, it's 13. I missed the one thing from the 3. That's what's going on. Makes sense? So now we can use that. I'll fix that right now. Nope, yep, yeah, there's 2 different numbers in the numbers. Okay, give me 1 second to fix this one before I lose track of what I'm doing. Correct. Hello.
That made it look like a shit.
I know what you're doing.
Just that. We're okay. Everything's great. Uh-huh. Right?
Can I fix that?
Yes. Sure. Yep. Tell me when you do fix it, like send a little comment, and that, because then it shoots into my mailbox. If you just submit it, it just goes there, but if you do a comment, it shoots in my mailbox, and says, Zoe made a comment. Thanks. Shh. So we're trying to look at each of the players and how they run it. So we're trying to, so just look at how we organize it. Like this type of, look at the photographic, these things. So we use description. Some people are coloring this like yellow. And so they're saying, okay, when I make a comment about organization, I'll do it this way. When I'm making it like style and voice, like do they use third person instead of dialogue, or what other features of style, And so maybe they'll do that in blue, and then down here they'll say, oh, this person did whatever. And then risks, like did this person take any risks? And just a really quick one for risks. A lot of this one. This is a huge risk, like something like this. Like we don't usually do that. And so you could just say, so your comment might be, what an interesting idea to do is manipulate font size and spacing to try to, So these are the kinds of things, but basically kind of like moving down the well, just what is the writer doing, not what the story's about, but how, what's the writer doing with writing, okay?
Sometimes you have to sacrifice the CSR. It happens.
You're Ian, right?
Yep.
Thank you. we're almost out of here, so you would probably need to open the checkout box, check out of class, okay? Checking out of class is essential if you're at home. If you're not at home, and I don't know if it's turned on yet. Yeah, it's turned on. If you're here, it just helps things. But if you're at home, it's how I mark attendance. So there's that. Just get to a comfortable place where you can turn off your machine. A lot of times it's good to stop at a place where you're moving so you remember the momentum you have.
Hey, you have money? Yeah. Yeah. It's really all about this. Let's go feed up. Other free 10 minutes off it. Sugar, all the boys. All the boys.
Do we still want to chat or do we want to chat?
No, we did. I was just making sure you know the voice, right? But we just need to go back and fix some of
Yeah. We're also being rolling. We got a lot coming, so.
Yeah.
Unless we get you on vacation.
Get fun. I'm not trying to cover it, right? I'm just trying to get that PS5.
I got
PS5.
I don't even have
Your girl in trouble, she buys it.
Yeah, I already have.
Your girl in trouble, she buys it. PS5.
Bye, guys. Have a nice day. Don't smoke. See you guys later.
Did you say don't smoke?
Hey. Well, I know how the teens like to appear cool, and I think smoking is one of those
I
ways.
can't find my keys. Bye, bye. I can't find my keys.
So, you came in saying like you turned a bunch of stuff in.
Yeah, I turned in a lot of them late.
That's good. So just know, in my class, everything loses 10% a day. So anything more than 10 days late is going to get just credit only. So you have to roll with what we're doing. Like while we're doing it, if you need my help, I get paid money to help you. But some students, particularly seniors, they're used to kind of like saving everything at the end, you know? And there's not going to be that opportunity if you're already, you know, you've already dug that hole. So this first assignment, this is essential for you because right now you have 12% in here. And I'm happy to help you with anything, but the track of turning things in not at all and then late is not going to be a good approach.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay. So let me know what you need. I'll be happy to help you. But
So yeah, all those late assignments I did turn in, and I'll still get credit for those, right?
you just get credit though. They're just like 0.1. They just mean you can
Some of
pass
them
them.
are 10 days late.
Yeah, some of them are 10 days late. Yep, and I will figure it out. And if you see that I'm missing something, you let me know, and I will ultimately go back. I respond to